तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So we saw in the Canto 6, first chapter, how Parikshit Raja has asked about how one should not suffer the tortures in the hell that were described in the 5th canto at the end. And so Shukdev ji said those who commit sin, if they do the prayaschitta as described in the scriptures, then they will not go through those sufferings. Parikshit Raja asked that even after doing prayaschitta, sometimes the mind is still having those impressions, and so one again commits the same sin. And he gave the example of Gajasnan. The elephant takes bath and then comes on the shores and then again sprinkles mud. Why? Because the sinner, the ego, the identity which is there, Mr. So and so, that is still there, and that ego creates the different desires, and those impressions compel that person to commit sin. So, how does that go? One is through knowledge that entity can be completely dissolved, one will realize it was never true. But many people won't be able to do that. So the surrender to Bhagawan and the power of Bhagawan's name is what will help the person. In that context, Ajamil's story was explained. So we saw how Ajamil was actually a Brahmana, but when he saw and he was living a righteous life, dharmic life, has studied the Vedas, doing his Sandhya Vandan, etc. And when he saw a Shudra woman copulating with someone in the forest, he completely was overpowered by lust, and that all his knowledge and everything that he had temporarily got eclipsed. He brought home that prostitute, he sent away his wife, his elder parents, gave away the property of his parents to this Shudra woman, had children through her, was into drinking, gambling, and all kinds of vices. Just see one act of perception and how much the mind of that person is affected. When we are not careful, we allow anything to go into our mind through the senses. So anything we hear, we see, we engage through our senses, then this mind will definitely get affected, and what it can do is not predictable at all. One may be stunned and surprised also that, oh, how could I even do this? And that's the power of what we see when it influences not only see, whatever we do, sense perception. That's why one has to be very alert. In the Gita, Bhagavan says that there are 3 hideouts of desire. In the Gita, Bhagavan calls the desire as Vidyenam iha vairinam. This is your enemy. Which desire? Desire born out of Rajoguna. Kama esha krodha esha Rajoguna samudbhavaha. It is that desire which makes a person commit sin, even though one knows what is wrong and one still does it. One knows what is right, one still does not follow it. That desire has 3 hideouts. Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhisthana muchyate eter vimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. So this desire operates from three hideouts and attacks the human being. From where? From the senses, from the mind, and from the intellect. Means what? Senses is perception. Through whatever I perceive, the desire will attack, meaning it will create the desire. If I have a vasana for it, definitely it will manifest. If I don't have also, it can create. In the present moment also that free will is there, the mind can topple anywhere. So, Indriyani, Manaha, through emotions, past memories, memory can create desire also, and memory can create fear and regret also. So if I have a memory of what I have enjoyed, I love it, I want it, then it will create desire for repetition of that. If I have not liked it, then it will create a unfavorable impression. Some dvesha can be there, some fear can be there. I don't want it, it has come, or possibility of it coming is there. And out of that fear, one will resort to some form of escape, which is again some desire. And what is intellect? So with the intellect, one imagines new methods of enjoyment, pleasure. I will do this, I will do that, some new combination, something which we have never tried. All the three are hideouts of desire. Please remember, it doesn't mean senses, mind, and intellect are useless or they are always dangerous. This is in the context it is being said. These three, just a minute. So this body, mind, so mind, intellect, and senses, they are not just to be, you know, condemned, one should be scared of. No, but one has to be alert that through these, the desire enters. And what will it do? Jnanam avritya dehinam. It will completely cover and veil the knowledge that one has. Which we see in the Ajamil's case, same thing happened. He is a Brahmana, he knows everything, and then he has done this karma. Knowingly, one will do the wrong thing sometimes because for that moment, either the knowledge is fully eclipsed or partially eclipsed, and one knows one part of the personality is saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, but one gives him. Logic, etc., doesn't work at that time because the emotions, the cravings pull that person away. So we find one act of perception, and what a big fall Ajamil had. You just see. How much more careful should one be? Today, vulgarity is splashed everywhere, used to promote products also, encouraged in the name of being open minded. So if one does not have that sense control, all the more is the need for sense control today when indiscriminately anything is available. And the mind does not have that Vivek Shakti and that discriminative power to withhold, withstand, withdraw. It will engage. The pull of the senses towards the objects and the cravings of the body today are so much more stronger, and we have not that much of self mastery for the emotions and the thoughts, what will happen? More and more indulgence, more and more material attachments, body orientedness, that is all going to increase. And the more that increases, the more there will be suffering in the world, because the subtler emotions and dharma and love, compassion, care, sensitivity, sacrifice, adjustment is all put aside. Why? I, me, and mine. Not even me and mine, only I and me, that's all. My life, my rules, my comfort, my enjoyment, my space, my this, my that. So the whole institutions of marriage, of joint families, of learning to be together, adjusting, everything will be put aside. Why? Because ego. So all the more very important today to live in self-control. So many other addictions one has today. Extra one addiction has come, that is a phone, and the whole samsara enters into our mind through that phone. Again, it is by itself is only a tool. It's a technology. It is a tool to communicate, to learn, to browse, to do many things. But if we don't have control, gone. Hours and hours just pass scrolling. So the need for self-control. Ajamil's story has so many facets, that how a wise person can fall, then what to talk about anybody else? If you see Ajamil's story, what is given in the Gita, literally you will see all those principles applied there. In the Gita, in the Sthita Prajna Lakshan, Bhagawan says that the senses are very, very powerful, and they can destroy the knowledge of the wise person also and make that person fall. Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. They are so powerful and turbulent, they will just capture away your mind. Technically, if you see, they are the grossest. Body is the grossest. Then senses, meaning the capability to see, hear, taste, smell, touch, etc. Then the mind, subtler than that. Then the intellect, subtler than that. But today the subtler is not controlling the gross. The gross is controlling the subtler. That's how the problem. So he says Indriyani pramathini. What is one way to control? In that whole Sthita Prajna Lakshan, there is one word which is the secret of devotion, which is indicating devotion, and that is the secret. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita mat paraha. That word mat paraha there in the whole 18 verses, one word indicates devotion. That is the secret there. One who considers Bhagawan as the supreme, surrenders to Bhagawan and takes the name of Bhagawan, considers him as the goal of life and wants to orient oneself towards that, then senses will come under control because the will is there. And of course, Bhagavan's kripa is there and one is invoking that through Nam Japa, etc. So, you see, we see Ajamil's life, that is how it happens, that knowingly one does the wrong. Then he has fallen. Now, luckily, that sadhus who came to his home for bhiksha, they gave him one advice and he followed it. He kept his name, his 10th son's name as Narayan. And he was very attached to that youngest child, Narayan. Now, Ajamil is 88 years old. Fallen sick because whatever drinking, gambling, all that he was doing. On the verge of death, and Yamadootas, they come there. That time he calls out Narayan, not even having consciously the bhav to remember Bhagavan, but just the name Narayan. And there Vishnudootas come, and we saw the dialogue between Yamaraj, Yamadootas and Vishnudootas, where Vishnudootas tell them to explain what is the essence of dharma. And Yamadootas, they explain what is written in the Veda. One who follows that is dharma, one who doesn't follow that is doing adharma. And because Veda is none other than Narayana himself, All those things we saw. Now, having said all that, these Vishnudootas, they heard whatever Yamadootas explained, they heard. And now we see in the second chapter, in this sixth canto, the reply of Vishnudootas. So so Shukadevji continues and he says that when the Yamadootas have explained, answered the questions of Vishnudootas, now the Vishnudootas reply. Aho Vishnudootaha uchuhu अहो कष्टम धर्मदृशाम अधर्म स्पृशते सभाम यत्रा दंड्येष्व पापेषु दंडो यैर्ध्रियते वृथा. So the Vishnudutta straight away they reply saying, oh, what a pity that even the knowers of dharma and the court of Yamaraj, even their unrighteousness has penetrated. Why? Because you are inflicting punishment on somebody who is not deserving that. And you are supposed to be the knowers of dharma, and still you are inflicting punishment. You are going to take him to go through sorrows and sufferings in hell. Prajanam pitaro ye cha shastara sadhava samaha yadi syat teshu vaishamyam kam yanti sharanam prajaha. These three, the people take resort to these three. They are supposed to be knowers of dharma. And who are they? Pitaraha, Shastaraha, Sadhavaha, meaning the parents, the rulers, and the sadhus, good people, saintly, devoted people. These three. Such people, the Praja takes refuge for protection. But if they themselves start following adharma, then what to talk about anyone else? Whom will the Praja go to? Whom will the people go to? So he says this. Again, you see one shloka that comes in the Gita, little modified. In the third chapter, Gita says, Yadyad acharati shrestha tattadeva itaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Vedavyasji compiled the Gita also and he wrote the Bhagavatam also. So some places there will be similar, same shloka with little one or two word change. Yadyad acharati shreyan nistaraha tad tadihate. Sorry, yajyadacharati shreyan itaras tattadihate sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Same, second half is the same. First half also same, yadyadacharati. Only shreyan, itaraha and anuvartate is replaced by ihate. Three words changed. As the great people do, the same others will also follow. You are setting the standards as leaders, as the great people in the society. All of these, for the children it is the parents, for the Raja it is the Raja, meaning the leaders, and for the seekers it is the great men of realization. Said all of you set up the standards and people will just follow. And if in any of these, like in this case there is Yamaduta who are nothing but messengers of Yamaraj. So he says that if these three are doing adharma, then who will protect the Praja? Where will Praja go to? Yasyam ke shira adhaya lokaswapiti nirvritah. People sleep very peacefully, assured in the lap of, these three, in the sense that they have a peaceful mind because they know that these three will protect them. So they will sleep peacefully. Swayam dharmam adharmam va nahi veda yatha pashuhu. Then a person who doesn't know dharma and adharma sleeps well because he knows that these people are there to protect and they will guide, and accordingly we will follow. Now if they start doing adharma, then how will they find peace? these three. So he says, they say that Sakatham Nyarpitatmanam Putra Maitra Machetanam Vishrambhaniyo Bhutanam Sadghrino Drogdhumarhati. If a person has fully reposed the faith and trust in either of these three or all these three, what will be the condition of that person then? They are supposed to bring more confidence, compassion in their character, so that the others who are depending on them will also follow, and they have an assurance. Now, if they only are not following, then what will happen? Why are Vishnudootas saying this? You see the reason. Aham hi krita nirvesho janma kotyam sahamapi, hasamapi yad vyajahara vivasho namasvastyayanam harehe. This is a very important line. Namasvastyayanam harehe. Ajamil took the name of Bhagawan. So he has already done the atonement for all the sins. See, the connection we should not forget. That's why I mentioned in the beginning. The connection is those who have not done atonements for the sins, they will go to hell to do the atonement. How? Why? Because they have not done the prayaschitta here. So Yamadootas came because Ajamil was doing adharma. But by taking the name of Bhagavan, he has already done the prayaschitta. Then Yamaduta should not come. That's the argument of the Vishnudootas. So he says this. Yad Vyajahara Vivasho. He took the name out of helplessness, but he still uttered, he still uttered the name of Bhagavan. And so they say that through millions of lives, whatever sins he must have committed, not only in this life, by taking the name of Bhagavan, millions of life, Janma Kotyam Hasamapi. Crores of lives, what he has lived earlier, all the papas, Krita Nirvesho, all those sins that he has done, including in this life, he has burnt, destroyed all of them. How? By the name of Hari. Why? Because Nama Swasti Ayanam Harehe, powerful name of Bhagavan, and it will bring Swasti. See how we have in Vedant, we have Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, so many Mahavakyas. The Mahavakya will reveal the oneness of Jiva with Brahman. Jiva Brahma Aikya is what Mahavakya will reveal. Jiva is none other than Brahman in essential form. And so through Mahavakya one will come to realize oneness with Brahman. That's the path of Vedanta. Here through name of Bhagavan one will come to realize Bhagavan, oneness with Bhagavan. So the name of Bhagavan will invoke the form. And form is not Jadavastu, form is Chetan. Name is that which is invoking that form. And without the help of the name, the form is recognized. With the help of the name, the form is recognized. Without the help of a name, form will also not be known. Suppose you know Ramesh has to be brought from the airport. So the name you know. So you can take a placard, or you may, nowadays they have WhatsApp, so one sends a message to Ramesh saying, I am waiting here at the airport, and then you identify, oh, that person is Ramesh. Because he sees the name board you have, Ramesh. So he'll see the name and he will come. But if the person's name is also not known, very difficult to find who is this person, which person has to be brought. Some characteristics one may give. Still some word has to be used. No? The person will have, he'll be tall, he will be wearing some black shirt, or he will have some long hair. Some description, some name has to be used, some words have to be used. Otherwise, difficult, one can't identify. So in bhakti, we say the Nama is the Prakashak, illuminer, and Rupa is the Prakashya. So the Nam will draw the Rupa. So if one says Hari, Narayan, then like Vishnudootas came. Why Vishnudootas came? Ha, because he did not chant consciously. So Vishnudootas came. If he had chanted consciously with the bhavana, Bhagawan himself would have come. Again, it will come further also, but I'm just clarifying now itself. It is not that I can do any sin and then just say Narayan and I will be absolved of all sins. That's not the point here. Point here is to understand the Nam Mahima and to understand that how that Nam sadhana is so powerful that it has the capability to remove all the sins of the past and the present. And so to help the mind to engage in Nam sadhana, this is the portion. One should not misunderstand this and say, I can eat anything, drink anything, be like that Ajamil, and then last, few days or even last moment of death, I will just say Narayan and I will be absolved of all sins. No, no, no. You see Ajamil's full story, you will understand the context. This is the glory of Bhagavan's name. So here he says, Aham hi krita, ayam hi krita nirvesho, janma kotyam hasamapi, yad vyajahara vivasho nama swastyayanam harehe. Swasti ayanam. Swasti means good. Ayanam is the abode. The name of Bhagwan is the very abode of all goodness. It is like fire. Anything you put in that, it will burn. And whatever it will touch, it will burn. Meaning the negativity, everything will get burned. So, etenaiva yaghonosya kritam syad ghaneshkritam syad aghaneshkritam yada narayana yeti jagada chaturaksharam. The moment he said those four alphabets, Narayana Chaturaksharam, when he said those four alphabets, meaning pronounce it as a word, then what happens? All the sins, what he has, they have been completely burnt. In fact, all atonement has happened. That's what is meaning. Kritam syad aghaneshkritam. Aghaneshkritam is that atonement. So all the atonement for the sins has been done, meaning Prayaschitta is over just by saying Narayana. And that also how he said without bhavana. But the power of the name is such that it will destroy the sins and the atonement. It is like atonement for those sins. Prayaschitta will destroy the negative papa karma. But the papi is not destroyed. The sinner is still there. So the sinner has to surrender to Bhagavan. Which is what we will see in Ajamil's situation. The papa is destroyed, but the papi is still there. So the papi could go back to the papa. But this episode transforms Ajamil and he genuinely repents, saying without knowing without intending the name of Bhagavan, having the bhavana, I just called out the name and my papa is destroyed. How compassionate is Bhagavan and how glorious is his name. And what a, stupid fellow I am that I knew all this, I have studied, I am a Brahmana, and then I fell like this. Genuinely he repented and it changed. Went on to surrender to Bhagavan, realized the truth. That will come ahead. But the point is this, Nam has the power. With that Shraddha one has to take the name. Shastra is telling us the power. Again I am saying this is not to misuse. Because now what will come is again the glory of Nam Mahima. Is the glory of Nam, that is called Nam Mahima, not to justify any wrong conduct. So he says here now, the Vishnudootas, they say, Stenaha, Surapaha, Mitra Dhruk, Brahmaha, Guru Talpagaha, Stri, Raja, Pitra, Go, Hanta, and Patiko, Patakino, Apare. All these sins and all these types of sinners are absolved. Who? Stenaha, one who is a thief. Surapaha, who drinks alcohol and liquor. Mitra Dhrug, one who has done Mitra Droha, betrayed a friend. Brahmaha, one who has done Brahmahatya. Guru Talpagaha, who sleeps with the preceptor's wife, meaning Guru Patni. Then killer of woman, king, parents, and cow. And if any of these are not covering some other sins, Patakino Apare. All the other types of sinners also, whatever sins they have done, Sarvesham api aghavatam idameva sunishkritam. Nama vyaharanam Vishnoho yastad vishaya matihi. Yatastad vishaya matihi. So, this is the power of Bhagavan's name, that if they have chanted the name of Bhagavan Vishnu, then it is atonement. And in fact, it is said here, idameva, this alone is the true atonement. Why? That will come next line. But he says this is the thorough atonement for the sins of all classes of sinners and all these different people who are mentioned here. Why? Because the mind of Bhagavan will be attracted towards the devotee. Meaning the attention of Bhagavan will come towards the devotee, and Bhagavan is Jyoti Swarup, is Ajnana Swarup, Ananda Swarup. The presence of Bhagavan only will destroy. And the name has the power to draw that presence. That's what he says here. That Nama Vyaharanam Vishnoho Yatastad Vishaya Matihi. So Bhagavan's mind will be directed towards the utterer. So there was a break. There's no issue with sound. Somebody was at the door. That's all. So the name of Bhagavan has the power to attract Bhagavan's presence. And where Bhagavan's presence is there, there the sins can't stay. It's like that sun. Wherever the sun comes, there won't be any darkness. Same way, Bhagavan's name will bring that power, bring that presence of the Lord. Now, if somebody says, but Bhagavan is all pervasive, he's already there everywhere, we have to understand what the Visheshta of Bhagavan's Nama and Rupa is. As Satchidananda Swarup Atma is all pervasive, that is there in our heart also, but we are not experiencing that right now because of mind's extrovertedness. So we need name and form. That the name and form, this is the Mahima of name and form. And if we understand Nam and Rup Mahima, we will just take the Nam with the Shraddha. not with, when we do the Nam Japa sadhana and then continue the sins also or adharmic conduct, that is the tiraskar of Nam, that is the insult of the name. So, Nam Mahima we have to know. One of the 10 doshas is this. In Japa, when we are doing Japa, one of the dosha is Nam Tiraskar, where we don't have Shraddha in the name, we behave in a adharmic way even while chanting the name of Bhagawan. So, on one hand, one can keep doing Japa every day, one mala, 5 malas, 10 malas, but keep doing adharmic conduct. That's the Tiraskar of Nam. One should not do that. Very clearly, Shastra says, and still people think ki Ram Nam Japna Paraya Mal Apna, all kinds of nonsense they peddle. The Hindu culture doesn't say all that. Go to Gangaji, take a dip there, and you become purified of all sins so that you can do new sins. That's not what the Shastra says. You drop the sin so that you lead a dharmic life. But those who want to pull down Hinduism, they will do that, and we people also out of ignorance support all that nonsense. Shastra is very clear about it. One can't say that I will take Ram Nam also and do. And those who are doing, then they are not following, and they get much more suffering than even a normal person who does not take the Nam, because knowingly one is doing it now. So this very clear Shastra is that one should take the name of Bhagwan. That itself is the biggest atonement. Is the Nam Mahima. And so here he says that Bhagwan's mind will be drawn to that. And even the other, see, the Shastra gives other forms of atonement like fasting, charity, tapasya, all that it will say. But the sinner is not purified as thoroughly through fasting and other processes as he is by the words standing as the name of Bhagwan and chanted with the tongue. One should chant the name with the tongue, because that is a way to purify the mind, and also it is to purify the speech, and also it is when we chant the name of Bhagwan, that form will come in the mind, and continuous chanting the mind will retain that form. Sometimes people say that you should chant the stotrams loudly and mantra only mentally. The other day I was hearing somebody speaking on podcast. Anything people are talking today. Where is the praman for it? What is the base for it? Nothing. And they become influencers, and how many minds are getting influenced by that? अरे कहाँ उसका प्रमाण किधर है? That lady is saying that chanting a stotram loudly and a mantra in the mind is the right way to do. If you chant the mantra loudly and stotra mentally, it is like filling water in a cracked pot. From where such things they come up with also, I don't know. Shastra says 3 types of japa: loud, soft, and mental. No doubt mental japa is most powerful. But it does not say that if you do loud japa, it is wrong. It is Bhagavatam only saying chant loudly. That's the only way to purify the speech. कहाँ से कुछ भी उठा के कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं, and then that reels go viral also. One should ask them, where is the praman? Show this. Which is the shloka, which Purana, which Veda, where is it said? Batao. Otherwise, people will talk anything about the scriptures and mislead. Anyway, the point is, here it is said, you chant the name loudly, take the name of Bhagavan. Why? Because when we say, see, Vani, so karma is not only through actions. Kayena, Manasa, Buddhya, and Vacha. Kayena, Vacha, Manasendriyarva. All Kaya, Vang, Manas, Buddhi, Svabhava, Ahankar, through all these, whatever we do will become karma. Where basically anything that karta bhav I have and I use my karana equipment to do, that becomes karma. So it will create karma phala. So when we use bad words, when we insult somebody, we curse them, we become angry, that is creating a negative karmic effect. Same way then if when we chant name of Bhagwan, it will create positive karmic effect. And here it is not just simple positive words, it is name of Bhagwan. Now one more point to understand, Nam and Nami are one. In case of Bhagwan, that is a fact. The name and the one who is indicated by the name are different in case of other jivas. But the name and the named are one in case of Bhagwan. Nam is Bhagwan, Bhagwan is Nam. Nam is a Vangmay Rupa Bhagwan, that's all. In the form of sound, Bhagwan manifests through the name. So we should not think name is different from the entity. Nam and Nami are one in one sense of the understanding. And if we want to segregate the name of Bhagwan as more powerful than Bhagwan, because Bhagwan's form, very few have darshan, but the name has helped thousands of people and all that. So Nam Mahima again. But otherwise, name and the named are not different. The one who is known through the name. And that name indicates that person. The person is described by the name, so they are actually one in that sense. So here, that is why he says chanting the name, fasting and other austerities, dana, tapasya, all that which one does, no doubt can help in some way. Those atonements are there, but the best atonement is what? Chant the name of Bhagavan. So here he says this, that one we said is the name will bring the presence of Bhagavan to that person, more aware consciously, and also the qualities of Bhagavan. So the guna associated with the name. See here in this 11th shloka, it says here, Harer Nama Padai Rudahritaihi Tad Uttama Shloka Guna Upalambhakam. Of that Supreme Lord, the divine qualities will manifest in the mind of that person who is chanting the name. Meaning the divine qualities of Bhagavan will come into the mind of this person. Because the name has that much of power to invoke Bhagavan's presence, to also cultivate devotion, strengthen devotion in the devotee, and instill the values represented by Bhagavan. So when we say Narayana, so what is Narayana? So many names, meanings it has, powerful name it is. Narasyayanam Narayanam. Naram means Jnanam. The one who is an abode of knowledge, who is Jnana Swarupa Sachidananda Brahma is Narayan. Then Narasyayanam also means what? The values, dharma. Abode of dharma is a human being. And human being's peace is when one follows dharma. Other creatures can't follow dharma because they don't have that much of sukshma buddhi. We have. So dharma is the abode. We should be anchored in dharma. Abode means that. Our anchoring should not be in money, power, position, property, popularity, all that. Our anchoring has to be in dharma. That I live in a dharmic way, no compromise with dharma. And dharma means vision of oneness, dharma means love for all, dharma means duty, dharma means values, all that. So Narasyayanam. So the goal of human life is Brahman, that is Narayana. The means to that is dharma, that is also Narayana. So we have to understand, Ayana means that. So Ramayanam, what is the meaning of Ramayana? The path that Ramji walked, that is one meaning. and where Ramji is established, that Brahma Tattva. So Ramji walked the path of Dharma, and Ramji is Supreme Brahman. Both, so that is Ramayana, the abode of Ram, where Ramji stays. Literal meaning is that. So Ramayana as a grantha is where we meet Ramji. So house is where you stay. If I have to meet you, I come to your house, you will meet me. Where is Bhagavan staying? In the grantha. So I will meet Bhagavan there. So by knowing his life, reading his life, understanding his life, qualities, values, abidance in dharma, now I'm meeting him, becoming familiar with him. And then I realize, oh, he is the very goal. Ram means that supreme bliss in the hearts of all, in whom everyone revels and who revels in everyone. That infinite bliss is Ram. So he is my goal of life. Paramanand is what I want. How will I follow? By the path of dharma, I will reach that. So the word Ram or the word Narayana has so much of significance. And that's why the meaning is important. And when we chant the name, then those qualities come into us. Like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to give an example. So whether you know it is water or you call it as Vajal or Neer or Tanni or whatever you call it in different languages, the qualities of water are to quench the thirst. You call it by any name, but that water will quench your thirst. That is the guna of that water. Same way, you call Narayana, you call Hari, you call Ram, you call whichever name. The name of Bhagavan has that power to invoke his presence and help us to instill the values represented by that name. And whether we consciously go into the water and take a dip or take a bath, or water is thrown on us even when we don't want it, the net result is we are wet. Same way, you chant the name of Bhagavan knowingly, great. You chant it unknowingly also, it will give the result. How much more it will give if it is done knowingly? Ajamil's life shows both aspects. Now, before one part of his life where he chanted the name unknowingly and this much happened. Then he started chanting it knowingly, with awareness, with full bhav, etc. And then he saw the result of that also. So this is the power of Bhagavan's name. And so they say here that qualities of Bhagavan will come into that person and will lead that person to final mukti also. Naikantikam tadhikritepi nishkrite manah punardhavati ched asatpathe. See, till that liberation is not attained, till the oneness with Bhagavan is not attained, the mind can still go back and again follow path of dharma. For some time it will follow dharma, take the name of Bhagavan, and after some time again some temptation will come, again back to adharma. The name of Bhagavan, what will it do? It will help the jiva to surrender fully. Other things may purify for some time, but the entity still remains. Here, when one takes the name, slowly one will forget oneself and surrender to Bhagavan. So that is the power of Bhagavan's name here, and that's why he says here that if the mind runs back to evil ways, then the prayaschitta is not complete. So those who are wanting to complete the prayaschitta and experience the supreme oneness, for them tat karma nirharam abhipsatam harer gunanuvada khalu sattva bhavanaha. Harer gunanuvada. They should just chant Bhagavan's name. There is nothing greater than Bhagavan's name. That is the only remedy that will purify the mind and finally lead to ultimate mukti where the ego has surrendered. Then no more sins can happen. Why? Sinner is dissolved. With that which happens with Atmagnan, where this ego is realized as a fictitious entity, illusory, which was never there, that will happen with name of Bhagavan. Hence, he has already finished this expiation, he has already done the prayaschitta, and so you should not take him, is what the Yamadootas are being told. Athainam ma apanayata. Don't take him now, especially through the wrong path. Why? Because he has already done the expiation. Why are you coming to take him? If he has not done the atonement, then you should take him. Now, if you take him, it will be adharma on your part. Vishnudootas are telling Yamadootas, this will be adharma on your part. Um, why? Because he already said name. Yad asau Bhagavan nama mriyamana samagrahit. And at the time of death, he is saying that. See, one is chanting Bhagavan's name. Then the second is, if that person has chanted Bhagavan's name at the time of death, just before dying, then too you can't take that person at all. So double mistake Yamadutas are doing. First of all, they came to take him. That only is wrong. And what is the time they came to take him? They came to take him at the time of death when he's saying Narayana. If he is saying something else and okay, dying, understandable. He's saying Narayana just before dying, in those last moments, then you can't take him. Because the power of Bhagwan's name, and that's the promise the Veda also gives, and Bhagwan also tells in the Gita that Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati tyajan deham yati nasti atra samshayah. That person will get mukti who chants the name of Bhagwan at the end of the just by before dying, meaning at the time of death. Antakale. So Yamadutas they should not do. What is the point in this, The Nam sadhana, when it is done, it will destroy the past sins. And now the person who is going to die at that time, if he chants the name of Bhagavan, from the time he chants the name of Bhagavan till death, he is not doing any negative karma, no papa is being done. Now that person will realize the truth. Why? Because past entire papa karma is destroyed. And just before dying, he just chanted Bhagavan's name only and he did not do any negative karma. No adharmic thinking or no, selfishness, nothing. Just chanted Bhagavan's name. So past karma fully gone and new karma did not, no new adharmic karma did not happen and the person dropped the body. Now what will happen? We'll realize the truth. That's the logic behind it. That's the reasoning behind it. That why one should chant the name of Bhagavan at the end. And how will Bhagavan's name come to the mind of that person at the end? It will not come if one has lived a whole life of indulgence, etc. Because what we train the mind in, that only will come at the time of death. That's why Anta Kale Cha. Cha is the most important alphabet in that shloka, in the 8th chapter of the Gita. Anta Kale Cha Mameva. At the time of death also. So if that person has chanted, then what has happened? That person will attain mukti. Now that's why one gives one drop of Ganga Jal or one Tulsi leaf, one time one will chant the name of Bhagavan. Because at the last moment, if one remembers, I should remember Bhagavan, Tulsi leaf is symbolic of devotion, Ganga Jal is symbolic of Atma Jnana. That I am not this body, I am not the Jiva, I am Brahman. In the second chapter of the Gita, Bhagavan says, Sthitvasyam antakalepi Brahma nirvanam richati. In the last minute also, while dropping the body, if that person comes to realize I am Brahman, I am not this, and gets established in that, then there is no punarjanma for that person. One attains oneness with Brahman. So Brahmagyan is Gangajal, one drop. Tulsi is Bhakti, Saranagati for Bhagavan. Either of these one should remember and drop the body consciously. This is how exit of the body consciously. Don't die unconsciously somehow. Whatever the prarabdha karma, that way the body will drop. But if one is going this way, there is a choice. One can drop consciously. One is becoming old and dropping the body. Keep chanting Bhagavan's name full time. surrender. Because what has to be done has been done in life. One has seen through everything in life, done the duties, enjoyed children, wealth, property, whatever one has got, everything, all duties done. Now only Bhagavan Naam. Bas. So that's the secret where the Shastra says, take the name of Bhagavan and you will attain mukti. Antakalecha mameva. So for that one has to train oneself through the life. See, Ajamil's case, he was taking Bhagavan's name before. Temporarily he came into a phase where he got tempted and lust overpowered him. And that phase lasted so long. Just think about that. 10 sons, such a long period of time. When he was young and now he has 10 sons and he's 88 years old now. One act of perception and how much the mind goes round, 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 taking us in Maya. Just one. So his sadhana has been there before. Again, his sadhana will continue after this episode also. It is the punya of his earlier sadhanas that he agreed to keep the name Narayana for his child, and then he is able to say Narayana at the time of death, and all this has happened. Which means again to say that name, see today we are thinking of name in terms of vibration, numerology, extra A add karo, extra K add karo. I mean, whatever that science it may be, I have no idea, so I won't comment on that. But more important is what? The name should remind me of Bhagavan. The name should remind me of the qualities, divine qualities, good things, most powerful vibration the words have, which are Bhagavan's name. And leaving that, we are searching some names and Tia, Kia, Pia, whatever. What kind of names and which language we have to ask nowadays? Sorry, which language this is? What is the meaning of this? And whether that is the actual meaning of it also we don't know. On internet, any name is being called as a Sanskrit, especially how many confusions in that people have created. Authentic names, we have Vishnu Sahasranam, we have Lalita Sahasranam, we have Shiva Sahasranam, we have so many. One should take nicely from any of those names and name the child. But people want fashionable sounding names. And the child also feels, oh, my name is something. If somebody keeps their name Ganesh, old style name, Ganesh. There are so many Ganeshas in the world. I want some unique name for me. Find some other nice unique name of Bhagavan. Now, why you have to search anything else? Because the power of Bhagavan's name is this unconsciously also when it is chanted, what all it has done. So Ajamil's life, you see, he chanted it unconsciously. But because he has that samskar, he agreed and that whole thing has happened. So now here, the Vishnudootas, they tell Yamadootas that you cannot take this soul of this person, in the Jivatma cannot be taken because he has already done the atonement. And he chanted the name of Bhagavan fully. That is another point here. Samagrahit. If you chant Bhagavan's name partially also, it will destroy all sins. Here too he has taken fully. And then at the time of death, three things have come together. Ajamil's story. One, he took Bhagavan's name fully. Two, he took that at the time of death. And three, this person has, after saying Bhagavan's name, he has not done any adharma. So for which sin will you take him? Because for any of the adharmic things he has done before, the name has destroyed all of that. From the time he called Narayana till the time you came, he has not done any adharmic action. So for which action will you take him? Yamadootas got confused. That will come in the next chapter. But the point is this is the secret of taking Bhagavan's name at the time of death. For that, if Abhyas has been there before, then it will happen. Ajamil's case, Abhyas was there before. Temporarily he got distracted. Now, this point that comes in the scripture about adharma, about taking the name of Bhagwan at that moment of death is not an ordinary point. And not very many people will be able to do that at the time of death. So many attachments can come up and mind may feel insecure. If one is not anchored in bhakti, this is what will happen. Which is why the others around that person will help that person by giving tulsi dal or Ganga Jal and playing the name of Bhagwan and doing some chanting and kirtan and all that nearby. But one should do that with Shraddha, because that Shraddha will transform that heart of that Jiva also and will make that Jiva, you know, more open to this if the Jiva doesn't have that samskar. So that's why important thing is to remind that person. At that point, one is not bothered about what is the will and property and did you name this, name that. That is no use. Even if that person has not written a will or not named, how does it matter now? What is the good thing for that jiva now? Is to remember Bhagavan. A few moments are left to drop the body. Chant the name of Bhagavan. So one puts one tulsi dal, one drop of Ganga Jal and all that and makes that jiva realize that your connection is with Bhagavan. Remember that connection and you are eternal, you are divine, you are not this perishable entity. Body will drop. How many bodies you have dropped long back? So many times. And the Panchamahabhuta, it will go back to Panchamahabhuta. Who are you? You are different. That knowledge and that bhavana to surrender to Bhagavan, very, very important, and we must have Shraddha in that. This the Shastra has said it. And examples are given here of people who have followed it. So now when he has said this, the Yamadootas, little more they are told that what is the power of Bhagavan's name? It will eradicate all the sins, even if it is, even when it is intended to denote someone else. Meaning, without remembering Bhagavan as Bhagavan, suppose I say Narayan and remember my son. In this context, there was a son. Suppose I remember somebody else, maybe my spouse or my friend or anybody, even my enemy. But the name itself has that much power that it will destroy all the sins. That's the power of Bhagavan's name. Then he says, it can be spoken in any way. Meaning, one can say it out of love and devotion, one can say it casually, one can say it just as a, just as a jest, as an interjection in the midst of a song, or out of disrespect also in some cases. Not real disrespect, that is an aparadha, but disrespect in the sense not very aware of the glory and just taking very casually or sarcastically or as a taunt. So in any of these situations, if the name is taken, just by saying the word Hari or any other name, even involuntarily, when you fall down, when you stumble, when you are bitten by a snake or any other creature, when you are, having fever, when you are injured in some fight, or when one has a broken limb, some fracture, some problem one has. Like that, even in the other situations, if one has chanted Bhagavan's name, Vishnudootas say they don't deserve to go to hell. Patitam skhalito bhagnaha sandashtas tata ahataha hariritya vashenaha puman narhati yatanam. That person does not deserve to go to hell and suffer there. So there is a power of Bhagavan's name, and you must remember this. There are great sages who have given different prayaschittas for depending on the sin. Shukadevji also said that depending on the sin, the gravity of that sin, great or small, accordingly the prayaschittas will be there. So they have given. So in that it is said, austere penance and charity and japa, some prayers, But what is most important is that papa karma leaves an impression. So the expiation that is done through japa, etc., japa in the sense some chanting, stotram chanting, or even the uh, fasting, charity, those will destroy the sins. They don't destroy the tendency. The name of Bhagwan will destroy the tendency also and the entity also finally, the sinner. They will all go. Hence he says here that the impressions also are obliterated through service to the Lord's feet. Nama dharmaja tad dhrityam tradhridayam tad apishangri sevaya. Isha angri sevaya. Through the devotion to the Lord's feet, even that impressions will go away. So that person is really transformed by the name of Bhagwan. So whether knowingly pronounced or unknowingly pronounced, it will destroy the sins, like the fire consumes the fuel. Now, whether if you know the power of fuel, it is combustible, it will catch fire, and you light it, or a child unknowingly, put some of the coal, let us say, into the fire, the fuel will still catch fire. Same way, you chant the name of Bhagwan, knowingly or unknowingly, it will burn the sins. Same way, medicine, another example he gives. Just as a medicine possessing the highest potency is sure to produce its salutary effect, even on the one who is unaware of its efficacy. Now, we don't know what is the medical composition of so many medicines, but we say, okay, doctor told to take this because of this disease, it will help me, cure me. And composition, I don't have to know. It has the properties, it will do what it has to do. Same way, Bhagwan's name has that power. And so, even though unaware of its efficacy, though taken by chance, the name of Bhagwan will reveal its efficacy by removing all the sins, even in the case of those who are not aware of it. And even if it is uttered very casually by that person. So now, when they have said this, Yamadootas, they have to agree. If there is no karma left, for what will I take this jiva to suffer in the hell? All the earlier papa karmas are destroyed. New karma he did not do. What? There is nothing, no cause only for them to take him. So what happened in this situation? From the nose of Yamaraj, the Yamadootas, Vishnudootas have pulled out Ajamil. And the Yamadootas, iti pratyudita yamya duta yatva yamantike. Yamaragne yatha sarvam achakshur achakshu raridam raridamam. Achakshu rarindama. So the messengers of Yama, they understood now we can't take him. And they are surprised, saying, Arey, we came to do our duty only. And then they gave logic also clearly. They explained the name of Bhagwan's power, Bhagwan's name. They explained the power of Bhagwan's name. And now we need to get clarity. Okay, should we go next time? What should we do? Because this is something unique. And so they went to Yamaraj and reported everything to Yamaraj. And meanwhile, what happened here? This Ajamil, he is freed. He is not going to die. What happens after this? That we'll take up in our next satsang. Any questions for today? Yes.
Swamiji, if one says Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama just before dying, is that good enough?
Yeah, any name of Bhagwan, that's what they said. It is good enough.
And sometimes when you follow something, you can't chant the whole thing. So one just says Hare Krishna, and that's also.
Yes. Yeah,
Even
that's
Hare
what
is
they
a
said.
God's
Even
name,
Hari
right?
is enough. Word Hari is enough. Krishna is enough. Hare Krishna
Okay.
is enough. Ram is enough. Any one word, one name.
Okay, because we may not be able to put tulsi or have Gangajal next to us or something. So at least this is in our hands to chant the name.
Exactly. That's why I said it is
Yeah.
not about Tulsi and Gangajal by itself. It is about the person who is departing, as you said, may not have it or may not remember
Mm.
and may not have the bhavana.
Mm.
The Tulsi and Gangajal is to remind that person, now chant the name of Bhagavan.
Yeah, but you
By
may not
others.
be. Yeah.
If
Mm.
that doesn't happen, doesn't matter. Whatever your punya, whatever abhyas you have done through the life, that will come to the rescue. One will remember Bhagavan's name because that bond one has built.
Yeah, no, that will be there, but only this tulsi and Gangajal may not be around you, or people may
Doesn't
not have it.
matter.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is not more important. Important
Yeah.
is that they are a means to remind us of Bhagavan. If I remember Bhagavan, that's enough.
Okay. Hari Om. Yeah.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Thank you.
Hari Om. So we do the arati.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की मंगल प्रीति रीति गुण की मंगल कांति हसनी दसगन की मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की मंगल आरती मंगल बणिक त्रिभंगी हरि की मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी मंगल आरती पभी अंग अंग की मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की मंगल आरती मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की मंगल माधुरी मृदुल बैन की मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की मंगल आरती मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की मंगल जुगल प्रिया बावन की मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की मंगल प्रीति रीति दोन की मंगल आरती मंगल आरती राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम् नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।